Hey guys, JK here. So it looks like we're getting two new units probably tomorrow, and these are pretty interesting units, and I think some people saw it coming because they're in the unit charts menu as usual. But let's go over and talk about them first in a little bit of high level detail, and then we'll go into more specifics into Dorothea because she does have a new job that we've never seen before. So we have a fire unit and a light unit. Let's go. Dorothea is our first Necromancer, and she's kind of, well, you can tell by the looks of her, she's pretty gothic looking. She is a fire unit, but Necromancer job is mostly dark element attached, so it's kind of that dual element thing going on, which can be a good thing, can be a bad thing, or kind of a wash, I guess, I don't know. But yeah, typically kind of ranged attacks, but at the same time, it is a melee unit overall, so it's a pretty unique kind of character. I mean, when you hear Necromancer from other jobs, you're thinking like some frail mage kind of guy or whatever, but this is not like that at all. The other two jobs are actually very good, very interesting. Job 2 is Magic Swordsman, which is going to give us, of course, the possibility of using the elemental blades and everything, but also Divine Shelter passive. Job 3 is going to be our second warrior, the first one being Sita, of course. So there's going to be some build possibilities here, and this is not going to be necessarily your frail kind of unit. So yeah, it'd be very interesting to see how people build them. I already have an idea in my head. I'll share with you guys, of course, but pretty cool unit, I would say. The leader skill is also very good. I love these HP and attack kind of mixes for the leader skills. So this is a HP 30% and physical attack 20%. So I think kind of similar to like a Shakina, but yeah, I really like those. So the recommended setup is Necromancer, of course, because it's the new job. It's kind of like her signature moves, I guess. Basic ability is basic Necromancy. That's a little bit debatable, but we can talk about that. Reaction ability, Raptio Anima. And this is basically like a pretty decent absorb jewels kind of thing with a pretty decent chance and everything like that. So we'll talk about that. Passive 1. Polished Sickle. This raises your crit and agility, and we'll talk about how good that is. And passive 2 is from the axe, the warrior job, Chopping Spirit, which raises your physical attack and HP. A very good passive overall. So yeah, this is not, she's very different from the way she looks, I would just say. So we'll go into more detail at the end. Victor is also a cool character because he's a 4-star. And his first job is Holy Cavalier. So this is the first time we've ever had a Holy Cavalier right off the bat from job 1. So if you're still lacking a tank or something like that, Victor might be a good pull for you. But he's unique in that he's not just a typical like really slow tanky tank. He has Ninja as a job 2, which job 2s of course are very easy to unlock as compared to like a job 3. So with that job 2, you're getting you have the possibility of having a tank that's also very mobile and has some elemental options available to him as well. Not too unlike having a Magic Swordsman as a job 2 as well. So I mean, it's a little bit similar, but you get a little bit more range, you get a little more mobility, but you don't get that Divine Shelter passive, so they're not going to be as tanky as like a Vettel or a Selena. So kind of a cool character though. I mean, I like the fact that he's base 4-star and has like, this unique combination of jobs. Leader skills okay. I mean, HP by 30%. That's kind of the best you can expect out of a base 4-star, honestly. Recommended setup is Holy Cavalier, of course, Holy Sword, basic ability, basic ninjutsu, and this is what will give you the range and the elemental coverage. So I think that's a pretty cool setup. I'm not too fond of the basic ability for the Holy Cavalier job anyway, so this is a good setup I think so far. Reaction ability, Holy Knight stance +2, of course, to make him tankier. Guardian passive, of course, you want to make that defense really high. And then passive 2, Ninja Stealth, move +1 and jump +1. So I agree with all of these choices. So you don't necessarily need that job 3. And yeah, you already have a viable mobile tank here who's pretty versatile, I would say. So let's go ahead and switch over and see how good the Necromancer job is for Dorothea. Alright, so she is a base 5-star, of course, unlike Victor. So let's take a look at Necromancer. I'm not going to go into Magic Swordsman or Warrior because those jobs have already been covered before, but if you want to, look it up, you can go to ALCHEMIST CODE DB, and all the information is right there for you. So some of the notable things to point out, the HP with level 85 and job equipment enhanced is 581. It's okay, but not like a bruiser tank kind of character. But of course, as we've mentioned, there are pretty good surviving options for her, so she's not squishy by any means. One of the downsides I'm seeing already is jewels obtained plus 16, which is pretty low. So I'm wondering if she's going to have some problems with jewels throughout the match, especially because she seems to be a melee unit, as I mentioned, and she only starts out with 25% initial jewels. So she might have to farm up a little bit to start getting going, getting some momentum. But we'll see about that. She is very mobile, so move 4 and jump 2, which is really good. That's on par with a samurai, I think. Really good mobility, and it's a slash type attack. So again, maybe a little bit unexpected for a Necromancer. As you can see, the weapon scaling formula is based purely off physical attack. So yeah, there you go. So Necromancy is basically mostly all ranged stuff, and yeah, like I said before, it's a little bit more ranged than you might be used to. So the first one, Fatal Malady, is a dark element, as most of them are. It is 4 range, not 3, which is really nice, but the multiplier is a little bit low, and the reason for that is because you're basically using this to inflict death sentence on the target. So, you're trading a little bit of that damage for the status ailment, the death sentence in this case. So at level 20, it's an 80% chance, very high chance there. Evil Flower, again, very similar to Fatal Malady, and same multiplier and everything, kind of low, same range. But what this does is it does bind and poison, which is probably more useful in most cases, because death sentence does take a few turns to kick in, and you don't want to necessarily deal with that for 3 turns or whatever it is. Catastrophe. This is a stronger attack. It's a higher multiplier, 130 maxed out. Again, dark, and again it has 4 range, but this time it does have a cross-shaped scope. So this is kind of a better ranged version of your Lightbringers and those kinds of abilities. Only 2 uses though. Again, dark physical damage, and you have a chance of critical, plus it lowers the enemy's strike attack for 3 turns. So it's a little bit of a debuff, and it does pretty decent damage, and it has good range, so it's a very good attack. What I'm not clear on is whether or not this is very different, or if it's a typo. I don't see the difference between that and Inferno. Seems to have the same multiplier, same range, same scope, has the exact same description, so I think something's off here. I'm not sure what this would be debuffing. Maybe it's debuffing magic attack or something different. I don't know. But let me know in the comments if you happen to know, but I think this might be a typo. I'm not sure. Okay, so basic Necromancy. These are all very similar. This is no dark element attached, really no range, although it does allow you to hit diagonally, which is important. So this is a close range attack, and it's going to basically just debuff resistances. This one does fire resistance, this one does water, wind, thunder. So that's pretty much that. It might be a kind of good attack / support ability set if you're up against if you have mages or something, or a team that can take advantage of these elemental properties, then it might be decent. But I'm kind of leaning toward the Magic Swordsman basic abilities, just to give her more versatility with regard to elements, instead of always being locked into dark element. Okay, passives. Raptio Anima. This is a reaction ability with a pretty decent chance, 50% chance and a 60% multiplier. I think that's pretty high. 50% chance is good for these absorb jewels type of things, and it also has a 4 range. So even if they're shooting you from afar, you can still absorb jewels from them, which is good. This might help with their jewel problem that I mentioned before. So keep that in mind. I think this is better than the Magic Swordsman version, so you'd want to use this as the reaction ability instead. Polished Sickle. Okay, so this one raises crit and agility, which is pretty nice. 25% and 15%. That's actually pretty good, especially with agility. That's a pretty high buff there. You may want to use this if you want to make her a little bit more damaging, a little bit faster. But you also may want to consider Divine Shelter, of course, because that will make her just so much tankier. That's probably the way I would go, to be honest. It would be a safer build. But if you're stuck on job 1, this is a perfectly good passive on its own. So that's pretty much it for the Necromancer job. My recommended setup would probably be Necromancy as the main, basic magic blade or whatever it's called as the sub skill, the basic skill. The reaction ability would be this one, Raptio Anima. And then for the passives, I would probably recommend Divine Shelter and then whatever that one was called for the warrior, because that gives both physical attack and HP, and it's a good amount. So let me just look that up real quick. This is, of course, if you get all the way up to job 3, which not everyone is going to do. Chopping Spirit. So this raises your HP by 20% and physical attack by 20%. This is a very, very good passive. If you happen to get to job 3, I would use this in Divine Shelter. So anyway, that's my review of the Necromancer job and Dorothea, I guess, specifically, and Victor. So pretty cool characters, definitely a little bit unique, and I'm going to pull for them. I don't think they're necessarily meta breaking or anything like that, but if you do pull them, they're going to be very solid, I think, for you. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned something. Let me know if I missed anything or if there are any corrections that need to be made. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.